What's going on, guys? Kevin Costello with Fieldcraft Survival, Fieldcraft Training now here in North Carolina. And I'm here with my boy, John.
How's it going?
John has done a lot of stuff with us over the past, year now?
Yeah, about a year.
Yeah, about a year. A lot of background. Oh, you just tell the background.
Yeah, so I was a rock climber, worked in a retail store for about 8 years. So had a lot of time with products, a lot of time with seeing, varying degrees of people and their performance. I have the old ladies that have never hiked before that want to follow their grandchildren up there. Then you've also got, SF guys, because we're right next to Bragg, trying to go on long rucks and stuff like that. So seen a little bit of it all, kind of did it for a while.
Yeah, and I worked in outdoor retail for a while, and that kind of gave me a little bit more of an understanding of some of the products. So both John and I are going to address something that you're definitely going to use if you spend any amount of time in the great outdoors, and those are sleeping pads. So my background, in addition to working in outdoor retail, I'm from the bushcraft community, doing a lot with very little, but I will tell you that one of the things that students always talk about if they wish they had something extra in addition to, say, like knife, fire starter, metal pot, things like that, everyone says, I wish I had a good sleeping pad. So we're gonna kind of go soup to nuts here, not advocating for one, talking about the pros and the cons of each of these and kind of explaining a little bit of the story behind various pads and why you may use them, just to give you the best understanding of what you may want. Again, we really have different uses for these, so one might not work for every scenario, so find the one that's gonna work for you. Let's start off with this guy. Probably one of the most basic, simplistic sleeping pads you're gonna find. They come in rolled form or they come in this Z-fold form, and you can carry it either like this, or there are different ways of carrying it where it can fold, let's see, like this. Okay, so you can carry it in different ways. You can even wrap it around your bag so it molds to your bag. Now, these are great pads. They're very inexpensive compared to the other ones, and they work really, really well in the cold. Now, I carry one of these year round because even if I'm not using this to sleep on, I may stop, put this down, and now I have something to sit on, okay? And it doesn't take any time to set up. It'll never deflate on me, and it's super warm. The R value, which John and I were talking about earlier, R value is more of a formula. So don't try to figure out like, well, does R stand for really warm or anything like that? R value is a formula that is used to identify the warmth of something. So this has an R value of 2, okay? Keep that number in mind because we'll go on. Now this one is an inflatable. You wanna talk about inflatables? Well, I actually spend the time to inflate this guy. And then I'll tell my story of Jerry, who is just here deflating my inflatable.
For sure. All right. So this is basically almost the same thing, a little bit bulkier. So with the inflatable ones, you get a nice small package. Whenever you let the air out, they usually come with a stuff sack. So there's pros and cons to this system as well. As Kevin's showing, first off, you have to blow it up. So that one is you unfold it, you can lay down, you're good to go. This one takes a little bit more prep. This one right here, this is the Cosmo by NEMO. This has a built-in foot pump in it. So that's another nice feature that you can kind of see. This is another one by NEMO, and it uses this bag. So basically it's got a one-way valve on it, and you hook the valve up to your sleeping pad. You fill this full of air, and then you use this to push the air into your sleeping bag or your sleeping pad. So that kind of gives you a little bit more options, and then you just have the good old blow it up and wait kind of option. With the foot pump, the one thing I will say is make sure that you do the foot pump outside of your tent, because I've tried to slide this thing into my tent before and I'll be like trying to pump it up and the tent's like this, and it's really uncomfortable. It kind of takes away the luxury of the foot pump. But yeah, so this is basically what we're working with. This is one of the bigger models, more of kind of like a 2-person or a luxury setup. As you can see, whenever there's air out of it, it packs down to a really, really small profile. Kevin's got his already aired up, ready to go. And then I will say one tip that I found with the blow-up ones is to almost fill it up completely and then let just a little bit of air out. It makes for a lot better sleep because it's not like trying to pop out from underneath you quite as much.
Just adding on to what John said, the benefit of a lot of these inflatables, I mean, I already took it out of the bag so you can't tell, but it's roughly half the size for packed size. So if you're sea kayaking, whitewater kayaking, and you don't have a lot of room for this, say inside where your thwart is or your dry compartments, you may want to go with inflatable. These work really, really well in the summertime. They do give you a lot of offset from bumps underneath, but as John mentioned, you got to inflate it. If you are not the healthiest person in the world, maybe you're packing on a few extra pounds, maybe you're short of breath, asthmatic, whatever it may be, you probably altitude. Oh my, you know, a little bit about that. These are great. Now here's the other cool thing about these. This has an R value because this is the insulated one of 4.5. Some of them are uninsulated.
This one's completely uninsulated
so
right here.
That would be better for the summer. The other cool thing you can do with this, if you are hiking in the hills and you find an awesome mountain pond, this becomes your floaty. So I'm a big fan of these for backpacking. And there's nothing saying that you can't carry two and adding this to this, right?
Yep.
So
if you have tree roots as well, I mean, you can put that down, kind of make the tree root not quite as thick, and then throw that on top and you're good to go.
Now, this one is not necessarily a sleeping pad, but it's worth noting. This is a shooting mat, and I'm bringing this one up because it is a water-resistant barrier between your sleeping bag and your the ground, right? There is a very, very thin layer of foam, extremely thin, like maybe 1/8 of an inch thin, and I've used this down to about 35, 40 degrees, and it was cold. This is made by a company called Crosstac. There are other companies that make these shooting mats. This isn't a bad option if it's already warm in the summertime and you just want to protect your sleeping bag from the ground. But then also if you have a mission or a job where you do need to set up and take a shot, or if you're hunting, maybe not a bad idea to carry something like this. And you can use this in conjunction with the folding one. And the best thing about it is that you can stake it down so it's not going anywhere. So if you have to spend a lot of time in that prone position, not a bad option.
I like the fact that it's camo too. So you can throw it on top of the bright blaze orange one if you need to like kind of hide your stuff. If
Absolutely.
You want to go hit a creek or something and come back and you got some sketchy locals in the area.
Hopefully we never encounter those.
I always encounter those.
Now, this is another one, right?
Yep, so this is gonna be, like I was saying earlier, this is the Cosmo by NEMO. I'm gonna pull it just out of its packaging. I think that since I've gotten this one's about 3 or 4 years old. It was my first pad that I've ever had. I've chased a few holes in it, which is another thing that we'll talk about coming up.
Yeah, while you're taking that out, let me tell the story with inflatables. So one of my good friends, one of our instructors here, Jerry, he was doing a Lost Hunter scenario where he had to provide fire the entire night just to make sure that he stayed warm. Well, I was sleeping nearby as an instructor, monitoring the students, monitoring in my sleep. And in the middle of the night, I woke up and there was like bright orange like this, like my shirt. And Jerry and this other student built this fire. Well, one of those little embers traveled, hit my inflatable pad, and now it was uninflated, so deflated. So just be aware that you need a way, like John said, to patch this in the backcountry because you don't want to be without insulation.
Yep, so the NEMO one actually comes with a little patch kit. It comes with a few like pre-sized ones with like a little pinhole. But yeah, so this is it. This is actually the side that you would sleep on. It's got the foot pump in here. So basically every time you push this down, it allows the air to fill in through here. But yep, so basically very similar to the other ones. They're kind of a dime a dozen when it comes down to it. This one again is non-inflatable. It's the extra large version. It also has a valve down here that you can just blow into, like that. You can just push it down to seal it. There's something else I was gonna say about this one.
Think about it. Let me talk about the Cadillac while you do.
Perfect, yep.
All right, so I mentioned that we're not going to advocate for one over the other, but I'll tell you, if money is not an issue for you and you are extremely concerned about your loved one's comfort, I would highly recommend the HEST Foamy. This is, without a doubt, the most comfortable pad you will ever sleep on, but you are going to pay for it. These run about $300. Couple things about the HEST. It is memory foam. There's 2 layers of it. The R value is one of the highest in its class. It's about an 8. So you look at this and you have a legit pad that when you put it down, it is going to be super comfortable. The cool thing with 2 of these, and it's like the ultimate flex. It's not like I got 1, I got 2 of these guys. The ultimate flex here is that these 2 will dock together. And this is an important consideration. If you've ever slept with your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever, and one of you is sleeping up here and the other one is down there, and they're used to like doing one of these on your arm will be out of the socket in the morning. So if you are doing the double sleeping pad or you're doing 2 of these, make sure that they're the same height because it does get really uncomfortable. And if it's not dockable, we talked about this the other day, like you know, they roll into you or you roll into them and then it parts the seas. So this company is one of my favorite that's out there. Super comfortable. It's the closest thing that you can get to a mattress at home. But just like I said, the money that you're going to invest in it will be more substantial than the less expensive stuff. But what is it worth to not have your loved one complain, I can't sleep, I can't sleep. Get them something that gets them into camping and gets them super comfortable in the way. But guys, I'm not backpacking this thing. I'm not a Sherpa, but this is perfect for car camping. Okay. So again, pros and cons of everything. Super warm, super comfortable. They dock together, but you're just not going to put it inside that sea kayak the way that you would something inflatable. Did you think of that?
Yep, I did. So on these guys, one thing I'll say about the Cosmo, and it looks like yours as well, when I test these out, I will sit on the floor and I will sleep on my side. If you don't touch the ground while you're sleeping on your side, your elbow's not hitting, it's usually a good pad for an all-nighter. There are some extremely minimalist ones of these that are like, I mean, they're like super duper thin. They're made more for like climbing mountains and stuff like that. So you're doing alpine starts there anyway. So you're waking up at 2:33 in the morning. So it's more of just a, hey, I'm getting off the ice. I'm gonna sleep terribly. I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna be ready to go in the morning. This one is a little bit, it's kind of in between the two. It's a nice size for backpacking, but it's also comfortable enough that you can have a good night's sleep. Because if you sleep terrible outside, morale's gonna go straight down. You're gonna wake up feeling bad if you have a crick in your neck or you have a hurt back or anything like that the next morning. It's really gonna affect you if you're hiking in and out of your objective.
Absolutely. And you got some more things over there.
These guys, they're super bare bones, again, just by NEMO. Basically, they take the little scraps that are on the ends of their pads and their sleeping pads, and they just make these little cushions. Again, a really nice ultralight option if you want to just basically put one of these over on your shoulder and then put another one of these on the ground if you're doing like ultralight kind of stuff. Also for an emergency, you can throw them on the ground. If you can throw them in your backpack if you got like a sporting event or something like that, just throw them down. But these are more bare bones. I just threw them in there just to kind of give you an option. You can even put these on the back if your pack's kind of rubbing on you a little bit. But again, just another, it kind of shows you all the way from the biggest option all the way down to what you can get away with.
Yeah, and guys, keep in mind that sleep is highly, highly underrated. It's very common during survival courses, bushcraft classes, extended trips to the field. It catches up to you, right? Where you say, well, I don't need sleep today. And maybe you do get by for 24 hours or 36 or 48. But at some point, you're going to be sleeping in the worst case scenario. You're going to be sleeping up against a tree in the rain. If you can get your sleep, then it's a game changer, right? And we all need sleep. The human body needs it to recharge. You need it to stay clear. So don't underestimate the value, whether it's R value or just general value, or S value of a really, really good sleeping pad. And remember, this is just one of the components of a good sleeping system. You always have to have something that you can sleep inside of, over, and under. In this case, we're talking about the over. Anything else?
I think we touched on just about all of it, yeah.
Yeah, there's probably more. Guys, if there's more, put it in the comments below.
Let us know.
And we'll be happy to address it. Thanks so much for watching.
Thanks, guys.